Hey guys, and welcome to this week's video. Now this week I'm going to talk about stigma. Now I know last week was Time to Talk Day, but I had an incident this week that really wants me to just speak about stigma. I had a hospital appointment with a new doctor person that I'd never seen before, and I went in and obviously I was nervous, but one thing that I hate is when they sort of ask you about your health and your mental health. And the appointment was going really well. I was getting a lot of information, and then the topic of my mental stability came up, and they sort of wanted to know how I feel and all this, and I had to say that I have a mental illness. Now, I always hated with a passion of having to tell people that I have a mental illness, because it's just the reaction just makes you, oh, it's horrible. It's never a fully good reaction, and I always dread it when someone first finds out. And when the doctor didn't have a very nice reaction to me saying that I had a mental health issue, I felt I felt awful. I absolutely felt awful. And after that, the conversation sort of took a bit of a down. No one was really talking. It was sort of just, it got awkward. It made me feel absolutely crap. And a part of me said that I should be used to this by now, because I have suffered mental health issues for years now, and in those years I have had to come across telling friends, family, medical people all about it, and I have seen so many different reactions. So when this reaction wasn't a reaction that was very nice, a huge part of me was like, I should be used to this. I should be used to people reacting negatively to having someone saying they have a mental illness. And when I came out of that appointment and came home, I was just in such a depressed, sort of frustrated, angry mood. And it didn't hit me till the next day that I shouldn't feel that I should be used to it by now, because it's not my fault that I have it. I shouldn't get used to people reacting negatively to me having a mental illness. I shouldn't be used to it and expect a negative reaction, because I didn't choose to have it. It's not something that I purposefully got. It's not something that I have been ignoring. I've been dealing with this for years. I am still dealing with it, and it just really hit home to me that this is why having those mental health weeks and Time to Talk days and all these support groups and charities about mental health is so important. Because the feeling I got when the doctor reacted negatively to me having a mental illness, and how it made me feel and how ashamed I felt, shouldn't happen. It's not my fault that I have this, and I shouldn't come away feeling like the worst person in the world for having a mental illness. So this is why I wanted to make this video this week, because if you have had it and you're nervous about telling people, and you feel that same feeling I got, that you should be used to it by now, we shouldn't. We should never be okay and accept a negative reaction about having something that's out of our control. If someone said they had cancer or something, there wouldn't be a negative reaction or look at you like you're a bit of a freak or crazy, and the conversation would just sort of be awkward. It wouldn't happen like that. But because it can't be shown and it's such a taboo subject, it really upset me that years on from me suffering this, I still feel that dread of having to tell people that I have a mental health issue, and I still feel ashamed, and I still feel like it's my fault when they have a negative reaction. And that isn't okay, because it's out of my control. And this is why I get so passionate about taking part in these mental health weeks and these specific days, because it needs to change. And it isn't going to change unless people stand up and shout out loud that it needs to change. So that's why I like to take part in days like Time to Talk and Mental Health Week, because it's so unfair to feel ashamed for having an illness that is out of your control. So thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye guys.